Hi there. Welcome back to Cheese Kitchen. Today we're going to learn to make one of my favorite desserts, and it's a Thai dessert called mango sticky rice. You might have experienced it in a Thai restaurant. Well, the first time I experienced it was actually in Thailand. I've always been kind of like iffy, like how does rice go with mango? That doesn't sound right. Okay, so I've never ordered it in a restaurant. So when I went to Thailand, we went on a cooking tour. So we learned how to make a 6-course meal. It was super fun. And one of the course they taught us how to make was mango sticky rice. And so this is the real deal, authentic, straight out of Thailand. So let's learn how to make it. So what kind of ingredients do you need? First, you need the correct type of mango. The mango that they say you have to have looks like this. They're small and yellow looking. The name, they're sometimes called manilla mango or champagne mango. You usually need to go to an Asian market to get this. And so why these are more desirable, they're sweeter and they're not stringy, so they don't stick to your teeth. They're very smooth and sweet. Now, what if you're unable to get manila mangoes? Well, these will work okay. The one that you can just get in any grocery store. Just make sure they are super ripe, super golden yellow and sweet. Next, you're going to need some coconut cream. I like the brand Savoy. Notice that it says coconut cream and not coconut milk. Now they come in two different sizes, this larger size and this smaller size. If you get the larger and the smaller size, it makes exactly 4 cups, which is what this recipe asks for. You also need some sugar, and of course you need glutinous rice. This is glutinous rice. It's not the same as regular rice. Glutinous rice, sometimes it's called sweet rice. It's not sweet, but that's how they call it. When you cook it, it becomes sticky. That's why we have dishes that are called sticky rice. You'll never say sticky on sticky rice on the package. It'll say glutinous rice or sweet rice. I don't know if you can get this in an American grocery store. You might need to go to an Asian market to get it. Those are the absolute necessary ingredients. Now let's talk about options. If you make it exactly the way the Thai make it, then that's it. That's all you need. But I like to add the pandan flavor. It makes the rice more fragrant. The aroma is simply just delicious. So what is pandan? Pandan is an herb. It comes in a leaves like this. I get it frozen. So it comes in a frozen package like this. As you can see, there are a bunch of leaves in here. We don't need the whole pack. So I do need to defrost it before I can use these pandan leaves. I also use pandan paste extract. I'll show you what that is. Comes in a bottle like this. Again, this is optional. If you cannot get the fresh leaves, this works too. I actually use both. I use the fresh leaves as well as the pandan extract to give it that nice green color. Finally, there's a topping that goes on top of this dessert. It's called fried mung beans. I have to make this. There's a separate recipe on my channel on how to make this fried mung beans. You sprinkle it on top of the dessert. Without this, it's not the same. It is not anywhere near as good. So this was something I didn't know existed because when you order this dish in the US, even though it's a Thai restaurant, they don't put this on top of the dessert. But you're supposed to have this. So this is a must. So check out my channel on how to make fried mung beans. So, what kind of equipment do you need? You need a steamer. Here's my steamer. So it comes with a lid. This part, you put the rice in it. This basin is where you put the water. You need this to steam the glutinous rice. You cannot boil it. You cannot throw it in a rice cooker because it'll ruin it. You will come up with this big lump of mush. So you need to get a steamer so you can make this dish. Notice my steamer has very tiny holes. This works because the rice grain will not fall through. If you have the kind that the holes are too big, they're like the size of a penny or slightly smaller than a penny, your rice will just fall right through. So you must have this size hole for it to work. Then you need a large pot. This is what we will make the cream in, and then we eventually will be dumping the cooked glutinous rice in here. Now, if you plan to make the option that I will be showing you today, using the pandan leaves to add flavor to the rice, you need some other equipment. You need a strainer. You need a small blender or food processor. I have here a small blender, smoothie maker, if you will. It's called the Magic Bullet. What this is used for is to puree the fresh pandan leaves with the coconut cream to blend in to get the flavor into the coconut cream. If you're not going to make it with pandan leaves, then you don't need this. If you're just going to use like the drops, the pandan drops, the paste, you don't need this. So now that we have all of our ingredients and all of our equipment, let's start making some mango sticky rice. The first thing you need to do is soak the rice in water for at least 4 to 5 hours. I usually do it just overnight. Put it in a big tub, pour it in water, let it sit overnight, and I wake up the next day and I make it. If you want to make it on the same day, you got to make sure you soak it in water for 4 to 5 hours. What that does is it hydrates the rice grain to get it all plumped up and juicy so that when you throw it into the steamer, you just let those steam rise from the steamer and it cooks your rice for you. What I do is I fill up my steamer with water and it's heating up on my stove. So I'm getting ready to steam my rice. This part of the steamer, you need to spray it with cooking oil so that your rice doesn't stick to the pan. So I'm going to spray it and I'm going to dump my uncooked rice in here. All right, here's what it looks like in the pan. Once the water is boiling, I'm going to put this in the steamer to have it cook for 30 minutes. Okay, we're going to mix up the coconut cream so that it's more evenly blended, because right now the heavy cream is floated up to the top. So I'm just stirring it right now to blend it all in. And then I'm going to puree the pandan leaves with the coconut cream. As you can see here, I've cut them into little bites here so they'll fit inside my blender better. Once the pandan leaves are blended with the coconut milk, I'm straining it into my pot. I don't want the pandan leaves to be in the milk itself. Okay, so I just want the flavor, the aroma of the pandan to be in the coconut milk. So I'm kind of squishing the excess strained leaves here so that only the flavor falls through into the coconut cream. Okay, let's blend some more. So now that our pandan leaves are all blended in with our coconut milk, we need to add in sugar and salt. So I have this on heat and I'm stirring and stirring to dissolve the sugar and the salt. And I don't need to get it to boil. Actually, you don't want to. You just want it enough. Once you feel in your spoon that all the sugar is dissolved, no longer there, you can turn off the heat. So now what I want to do is give the coconut cream a little bit of green color and a stronger pandan flavor. The leaves were not enough. So here is my pandan flavor. I'm going to drizzle just enough to give it a nice pale color. I don't want it too dark or look artificial, and yet not too light that I can't even see the color green. That's about right. Actually, I like it paler green, but this is okay. Now all we need to do is wait for the rice to be done cooking, and then we're going to dump the rice in here. Now just kind of blend in the rice, get out all the lumps. So I'm kind of pressing down onto the rice to remove the clumps. Right now it's sticky rice, so it's clumping together. So I'm just trying to separate it by stirring the pot. All right, all the clumps are gone, but as you can see, it's still very soupy, very liquidy. Not to worry. It's going to thicken up. The rice will soak in all the coconut cream and eventually it'll be kind of a thick paste. So now I'm just going to let it sit and let it toughen up. I will check back with it later. Now I'm going to go chop up some mangoes. All right, so I have 2 mangoes here that have already been peeled. I'm going to dice them into little bits. All right, so our sticky rice has been sitting in the coconut cream for a while. As you can see, it has thickened up. It's no longer soupy. The liquid has been absorbed by the rice. It's a nice green color. Now it will still continue to absorb some more. It is still a bit on the liquidy side, so it's going to absorb some more. So it depends on your taste. Some people like to eat it a little runnier. Some people wait so it becomes a thicker paste. Whatever your preference is, but it is ready to be eaten. So I start with a little scoop of rice. Then we sprinkle in some mung beans. Then we scoop in some mangoes. Let's see how it tastes. The crunch from the beans, the smoothness from the rice, and the sweet and tangy from the mango. Wonderful blend. There you have it. You now know how to make mango sticky rice. Try it out with your family and friends. It will be a favorite among everybody. Come back to Cheese Kitchen and try another recipe with me. Bon appetit!